Good evening and welcome to Metro Focus. I'm Rafael P. Roman. Big changes are coming for the millions of New Yorkers who depend on the city's transit system. To begin with, riding the subway, bus, or train is about to get more expensive, and that's because the latest round of MTA fare hikes will kick in this weekend. For L train riders, this means that they're about to get less for more, since next week marks the official start of the much-anticipated partial L train shutdown. And in perhaps the biggest change of all, Metro cards will themselves soon be a thing of the past as the city begins rolling out a new payment system that will eventually replace the yellow cards that have been in use for more than 25 years. And joining us now to sort it all out is AM New York transit reporter Vin Barone. Well, Vin, let's get to it. The fare hikes. Remind us, what are they and who is it going to hit the worst?
Right. So this is part of, biennial fare hikes that the MTA has been doing for a decade now. The monthly Metro card is going to go up from $121 to $127. The weekly card is going to go up to $33, but the base fare, $275, will stay the same, albeit without that purchasing bonus. So if you're
That's a big one. That's a big bonus.
Yeah, if you're paying per swipe, it's going to hit you hard.
So listen here. We remember the expose that the New York Times did a couple of years ago about the subway system, and I think it made it pretty clear that the problem wasn't so much the revenues, as there are problems with the revenues, as the expenditures, particularly in labor and management, as these fare hikes come to be, I think, on Easter Sunday. Did anybody deal with the expenditures?
Right. I mean, that's a big problem with the MTA is their management. With these hikes, they're sort of promising that they're going to get their act together. They have a hiring freeze going on. They're trying to cut $500 million from their various agencies because they're facing significant budget gaps, even with these hikes going into effect. You know, in the off years, almost $1 billion in operating gap.
Right. They're saying that these hikes are not to improve the collapsing subway system, but just to keep it going. Right.
Right. It basically staves off really serious service cuts. Yeah. So, I mean, they're still really struggling. This is a huge challenge for the MTA. And even with the influx of cash from the state budget, from congestion pricing and all that, that doesn't address the operating side of things.
So let's talk about the L train repairs. They're beginning for real in a week. You've written about the anxiety people are feeling about that. Talk about that.
Yeah, it's a bit of a double whammy for those riders, right? Okay. So basically, we're not having a full L train shutdown. We're doing a partial shutdown on nights and weekends. And that means that trains are going to be running every 20 minutes, overnight, ramping down at 8 p.m. and all through the weekend. And that could be a significant service decline for the weekends, especially when through Union Square, for instance, we have trains running every 4 or 6 minutes during the weekend.
So when the L train was supposed to be closed down completely for 15 months, there were these mitigating plans that were in the works, like dedicated lane on 14th Street for buses only, more trains for other lines that L train users might be able to use, G and 7, maybe M. Are they still in place?
Some of them are. So the subway enhancements are still in place. You're going to see boosted service on those lines you mentioned. The bus service is still a little bit of a question mark. The MTA is going to improve M14 bus service on 14th Street, but the busway has been in limbo. It seems like it was quietly mothballed after the MTA said it wasn't really necessary, although a lot of experts and advocates kind of disagree there, because there's a lot of people to move on the weekend. There's going to be a lot of people to move overnight. The problem with the L train, or maybe it's the good thing about the L train, is that it serves people all throughout the day. People are taking it during the day, they're taking it overnight, so there's really a challenge 24/7 there.
Okay, we have about a minute left. Talk about the new payment system that's in the works. When is it going to start, and when are we going to say goodbye forever to the yellow card?
Right, so the Metro card is still going to be around until 2023, so you'll still be able to pay with that. But the new fare payment system, which uses contactless bank cards, eventually it'll use a mobile app. That's going to start with a very small pilot on the Lexington Avenue line at the end of next month. So it's about 16 stations from Barclays Center to Grand Central on the 4, 5, and 6, and on Staten Island buses, local and express. And they'll be able to use, those riders will be able to use a bank card to tap in instead of having to wait in line to refill a Metro card. And ultimately, it'll open the door for new fare payment policies like fare capping, where riders won't have to decide to buy a monthly or daily or weekly Metro card. The MTA can simply just cap their fares if they ride a certain amount of times in a month or something like that.
All right, Ben. Well, thanks so much. We'll see how this all works out.
No problem. Thank you.